So, what was the start of Smokin Soles? Like, how did you start the business, and what was your motivation behind, the name Smokin Soles?
Bro, I started the business almost 2 years ago, and it just came out of just an idea. I've always been a sneakerhead. I've always been that guy that loves sneakers, love the culture. I just never could afford sneakers, and I know it's so cliche. A lot of people say that, I can't afford them, so I fell in love with them. But it was everything about the culture that I enjoyed. So it wasn't until college I began to really collecting sneakers, and then after collecting the sneakers, I began to, kind of fell out of the culture. And one day, man, all of my sneakers were stolen out of my apartment, and I had pairs that I collected from college up until getting married, and all of that was stolen. So fast forward, my wife and I, we moved here, and still a sneakerhead at heart, and there wasn't a store here that I can go and I can shop and get the stuff that I was looking for, because what broke me into the culture was Chicago. That's what because my first year of undergrad was there, so the fashion scene was crazy, and it was all about sneakers. It was all about the type of sneakers you wore back then. It was Dunks, it was Jordans, but mostly Dunks. So I fell in love with that culture, and then when I got here, I was like, I can't immerse myself into a culture that doesn't have a store, but it was all around. Yeah, man, the sneaker culture here was super, super dope. Resellers and people who love the culture here. So, me coming here was basically Lansing invited me to come here. So I started up a small store at this connected to apartment building. Yep, waterfront apartments. I started with 15 pairs of shoes, man, and 2 years later, that's where we at.
So, could you elaborate on the old store over on Michigan Avenue, how the opportunity came about to go over there?
Yeah, man, we quickly outgrew that store at Waterfront, man, because we was at Waterfront for 6 months. Next thing you know, man, we ran out of even standing space because it would get so crowded, and it was places we couldn't even keep inventory. We had to keep inventory in closets. Like literally closets, we kept boxes of shoes. So we just said, you know what, I need to find another spot, and that's when I came up with that spot on Michigan Avenue. And man, we renovated that whole spot. It was just sat there, man, because I was looking for space after space after space, and I couldn't find the right one that fit our needs. Then finally, I came up with the one on Michigan Avenue, and I just said, man, this is it. It has so much back space, so much front space. And I wanted something, the opposite of what we was dealing with, which is, little to no space. Yeah, we just had to be really creative, but we wanted a place where we can just have as much inventory as possible without ever having to worry about running out of room again.
And how long were y'all at Michigan Avenue?
We opened up, I think our grand opening was around November.
November 17? November 2017?
Yeah, November 2017, and then it wasn't until the break-in around May, that's how long we've been there.
How did you find out about the break-in? What was
So that was, the story actually started, it was a 2-day thing. The first day, I went into the store, and I kind of noticed some stuff was in disarray, but I just thought it was messy. I just thought, whoever was there didn't really clean up or set up everything right before leaving. And I FaceTimed Cam, and Cam was like, yo, what was that? And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, you just walk past the room, look in the room. And the wall was caved in from the next business that was next to it. So someone made a hole from that business to get into ours. So you look over in their business, you see nothing but trash and stuff, and then I look, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I realized that a lot of stuff in the back was gone, as far as clothes and vintage and some shoes. And so that night, I know it was a Sunday morning, I was getting up, usually Sundays I go to church, so when I got a call around 4 a.m., the 800 number, I knew something was wrong. And before I picked up the phone, I told my wife, I said, baby, go on the cameras. And so she went on the cameras. I picked up the phone, and then the security company, as the cameras is loading, the security company tells me like, hey, we think that something is going on at your shop, but we're gonna send some cops there. Usually stuff like this is just maybe some kind of glitch in the system or something weird, but I was like, no, I believe somebody's in there. And as soon as I said that, you hear the guys on my wife's phone that she's looking at panicking because they couldn't get out and the alarm was going on and on. I'm on the phone, I tell the lady in the security company, I said, send the cops. Someone is in the store right now, I can see them. And when we went to the store, man, everything was in disarray. There was boxes everywhere, a lot of stuff was gone. The worst part was, to see my wife, who she cried that whole time because we started from such a small space, worked our way, worked hard to get into that space,
right?
And it just seemed like all of that was just going down the drain in just a moment.
So, how were y'all able to rebound from that, and how fast y'all got into Meridian?
First thing was God first, and we was able to make sure things were insured, and we were able to pay all of our consigners that lost stuff during the break-in, and we were able to get into the Meridian. They worked with us to get a great deal to get here, and we thought it was just the best place to go to out of the whole city of Lansing. And we knew like getting a storefront spot was definitely a unique thing, something that we wanted, but we figured that the mall was something we'll just give a try, and that's how we got to the Meridian. So it was about 2 months later when we was able to get into Meridian, but that 2 months was like the longest 2 months ever, man, because it was just nothing. It wasn't our daily routine of being at the shop and doing things, so we were kind of bummed, but I worked every day to make sure we got in this spot. So it wasn't like it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy doing all that paperwork. It wasn't easy, calling the consigners, keeping them updated every step of the way. It wasn't easy getting in here. It wasn't easy, getting everything moved over, getting all the inventory back. Like, I worked every day. I don't think I stopped working, since that day.
Outside of the break-in and just, general things like a small business having to move up, what other obstacles have you faced as a business owner?
One of the things I faced was, I think a lot of business owners face is making sure that your company represents, or the people in your company represents who you are as a company. For instance, there's a culture that you have to keep, and that culture is good customer service, knowing what you're talking about, the employees need to stay updated with the current streetwear, current sneakers, and when people feel like you don't offer that, they don't feel like you are experts at what you do. So the hardest thing is kind of instilling that into people that work here at Smokin Soles, and just and that's what we only look for. We look for people who love the culture, not people who just want to work at a store. But you got to be able to love the culture, and having those conversations and letting them know, like, hey man, you got to do this, or I don't think this is for you. And then you got another point. Another point is, after the robbery, you have issues where disagreements or something may come up missing, and you have to look at everyone who works here about it. So it's been really obstacle after obstacle, and it's nothing new. It's just that all business owners deal with it, especially business owners in retail, because you're dealing with products and you're dealing with money, you're dealing with people. It's really about gaining and earning trust. I think you got to earn trust, and I think everyone needs to realize that you have to earn trust as a business. You don't just get the chance to come in somebody's community and make money off the community without giving back, without earning that trust. So, I realize that there are obstacles that we've had to go through to let people know, like, we are who we say we are. We all about the good of the people. We're all about the good of the community. We took plenty of losses just to make sure our customers were happy. I've gave back to people and kids who had bad grades, and give them a shoe or something as an incentive to raise their grades, and I've even told, you know, parents not to buy their children something if their children were doing bad in school. So it's just all of those things, man, and even, you know, just finding ways to serve in the community. So, but those obstacles are just really just steps that every business owner have to go through. And I'm quite sure we'll deal with more in the future.
Are there any like major community projects or collabs that you're looking forward to doing in the future?
Yeah, man. We got a toy drive coming up. That's kind of hush hush right now. I haven't even released it yet, but we want to do a toy drive for the community, for all the kids who, you know, may not have any toys for Christmas, or parents can't afford toys, or parents, you know, don't need to use that money on bills and other things, you know. We want to do a toy drive. I want to work with there's a guy out here, man. He gives like sneakers to people homeless people. I want to be able to have like a hub and work with them in providing those type of shoes, or at least giving some stuff that we may have to them. You know, we're always just trying to find ways how we can help out, and I just think that's like a must. You know, you have to do that. That's something that's dear to my heart. Is about serving and giving back, and you know, and it's not something that I just say lightly. It's something that, you know, I really look forward to do, and that's what I do. I came up here as a youth pastor, so I came up here serving the community and doing things, and now I'm full time just doing this. But even with me doing this, I still continue to do what I love to do through the business.
So, as a business owner, I mean, thriving business owner, what is the biggest piece of advice that you have for upcoming businesses, sneaker related, non-sneaker related? What's something that you could tell them?
Work hard. And working hard isn't just getting up every day and going to the same thing, doing the same thing, working the long hours, getting up early and staying late. That's not just what work hard is. But work hard at building a stable brand, a stable company. Work hard at continuing your education, continuing learning about how you can better yourself, better your company, better the people around you. Because one thing that I learned is that everything takes time. And there's also times where people take losses in business, and you gotta be prepared for those type of losses, and you gotta be prepared to you know, work with, maybe start another company, or maybe start from scratch. But all of that, in order to do that, you gotta work hard at what you do, and you can't ever think that you've made it. And I think one of the biggest inspirations that the other day I was watching Swiss Beats. Swiss Beats, of course, is a DJ. He went back to school. He went to Harvard Business School, but there is a special program at Harvard where you have to be an owner of either. There was two tiers. You had to be an owner of either a company that was worth $2 million, or you have to be an owner of a company that's worth $100 million, I believe. So Swiss Beats talked about how he was in this class, and he was the only guy from the U.S. and even the only guy from where he came from in this class, in this basically cohort. And but these were all people from around the world. I mean, who owned businesses that were, again, worth $2 million or $100 million. So each owner decided that they needed to continue their education by going back to the Harvard Business School to learn more about their business. And a lot of us, you know, our goals may be to make $1 million and to get some sort of status, but they are these guys who went to Harvard Business School along with Swiss Beats, who have a long list of accomplishments. They never arrived. They never convinced themselves that they have arrived. And every business owner should always work hard, keeping in mind that I will never arrive. Because arriving means that I got everything, I've done everything, I'm at the place where I want to be, but there's always room for growth. There's always room for, you know, doing things better and doing things a lot more well, because, yeah, you may have millions of dollars in cash revenue that's happening. You may be grossing millions of dollars. You may be netting a couple of $1 million, but you know, you got the cash flow right, but how are you treating your employees? How are you, how are you treating your family? How are you treating those around you? How are you building a business? How can you leave that business for your kids? So again, there's always something that you can learn. So I made a couple of goals, 3-year, 5-year goals, but those goals are just, what I deem as just temporary goals. It's almost like, marks and goals I want to pass by. But again, as I said before, in the business, one thing I'm learning day to day is like to never think that you have arrived. There's always room for improvement. But where I see Smokin Soles is my main goal is to provide jobs. That was the main goal of really starting up the store. Because let's be honest, there's plenty of people like me that can work a store just themselves, the owners, and that's it. But Kyle's goal for Smokin Soles and my wife's goal for Smokin Soles is to, how can we provide more jobs? Does that look like another Smokin Soles store? Does that look like another venture? But that's the goal. But again, it goes past like why provide jobs? Because those people can feed their families. Those people can save money to start up their own venture. Those people can create futures for themselves, and I just think people, love working places, doing what they love to do. So there's a lot of people that don't fit into other industries because they're wired to want to be around fashion. They're wired to love sneakers and to love streetwear and to love vintage. So I want to provide those people jobs. Because I want Smokin Soles to be a creative outlet, not just a retail store. Everyone here is, everyone that work now, I always let them know, like, man, there's things that you could be doing, things that you could be investing in. So we have people who's doing graphic design, people who are working on their own customization company for sneakers, and then, we want to be just an outlet, a creative outlet, and that's what Smokin Soles is supposed to be.
Appreciate it.
Yep, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.